Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Today we're going to build a little something different than we normally do. This is a Land Raider from the game Warhammer 40k. It's kind of a space-age tank vehicle. It's got all kinds of cool little features on it, all kinds of weapons variations, and a friend of mine who's big into Warhammer brought one in and said, hey, you might really enjoy building something like this because they've got really cool, unusual paint schemes. Just something completely different than what we've been building, you know, with the camouflage and stuff. And I thought this was a perfect opportunity. I wanted to do some type of construction-looking equipment, which this yellow is like a construction yellow, like on a Caterpillar yellow. And I saw that a few of these were painted up that color. I thought it was a perfect opportunity. We can really beat it up and weather it and have some fun with it. So. Now I didn't have any box art for you, which I normally show you guys in the beginning of the video, so you're actually seeing the built-up model right here. But I'm going to walk you through all the steps that I went through from turning it into just a gray plastic model into what you see right here. So let's get started on it. Before we start the construction on the Land Raider, I thought I would take a few seconds and kind of show you the way the sprues and the plastic is on a kit like this. I know a lot of my viewers probably have no experience with the 40k because this is actually my first time seeing any of this stuff. So, some nice big heavy-duty plastic, nice detail on everything, not too many parts. I think there's a total of like 7 sprues, and actually one of them is the figure that go inside of it. So. See about putting that on. So just some nice big parts. So I've cut off quite a few of the parts off the tree and sanded them all up, and just because of the simplicity of this kit, I won't spend too much time showing the actual build. What I'll do is I'll just kind of do a speeded up version of the entire build just to show you basically how things go together, because the majority of this is going to be the painting and how we weather it up to make it ready for the wargaming. So for the next couple of minutes you'll just watch the quick version of the build. One other thing too, before I start building, I've been talking to a few of my friends that actually build the Warhammer stuff, and because of the type of plastic, they were advising me that to go ahead and use the Tamiya regular cement, the orange label one. And what this is a little bit thicker and dries just a little bit slower than the green lid one, and it'll make putting the kit together much quicker. Okay, I've attached the outer parts of the sponsons on here, and I did a little investigating and I found out that I can put the top piece on and still fit the tracks underneath all this, so we can paint those separately. So we'll glue this part into place and start applying all the guns. one little quick upgrade that I'm going to do on a few of the guns is, if you notice that they're not hollowed out. So I'm going to take some tube of an equivalent size, and I've cut off these little flash suppressors to kind of match what the sides are. And now we could drill them out, but it's sometimes hard drilling out a perfect hole down the center of something. So I thought it'd be easier just to cut these and glue them on. And I actually think they look kind of cool this way. So this will just fit right into place here. We won't glue that down yet. Here we are. Here is our mostly completed model, and I say mostly, and that's just because we haven't attached any of the tracks yet. The track design looks like they're going to be pretty simple to put on. They're link and length tracks, which many armor modelers know about these real well, but there's only a couple of links pieces just to go around this front piece, so they'll be real easy to put on later. This way we can paint them up, get them all weathered nicely. You'll also notice too that I've left off all of these extra parts right here, and that's only for painting later on, so that way we can paint them another color without having to mask them all off. And of course our platform right here still opens up really nicely. I've spent some time taking care of the seams in here, and I still have a touch more probably to do on that now that I'm looking at it. And it's just that I wanted to get most of that seam out of there. Now the plastic might look kind of rough right now to you guys, but I have polished it up with this, and it's just the way the plastic is. Once we put a coat of paint on it, that'll all completely just disappear away. So I'll kind of give you a little 360. So overall, the kit is a fun little interesting kit. Now, I'm not a war gamer by any means, but I am a modeler that likes to build cool vehicles, and I thought this was a cool vehicle. One thing that also attracted me to this kit is the type of paint jobs that you can put on it. And I've seen some really cool ones, and the fact the one I think I'm going to go with is one that's a kind of a orangish yellow. And a friend of mine got me some decals to put on it that match the proper thing. He is a war gamer, so he knew which ones went on there. So what we'll do is we'll do our typical black and white coat first, and that's the black coat is going to be put on here to give it a shadow effect, and then we put white highlights on it. And then what happens once we put our yellow orange color on it, what it'll do is it look like it'll be a modeled effect, so it won't look like it's a brand new paint job. It'll look like it's faded in some areas and kind of beat up. So, and then of course we can put all of our scratches and all that other stuff all over it. Kits are easy to put together. A little bit of a seams all over the place, but that's minor. Some war gamers don't even bother filling them and stuff like that. It's just strictly up to you how far you want to go taking it to detailing it. So what we'll do now is we'll start our paint job and show you what it looks like. Okay, the first coat I'm going to put on is XF1, to me is flat black. Now I normally use NATO black, but I just happen to have a bottle of this open right here. NATO black is just a little bit more grayer color than this, but for the shadow coat it's really not going to matter. Now another reason that I like to do the shadow coat in this black is the black really highlights any flaws you might still have in your kit. So what I'll do is I'll spray the entire thing black right now, sand down any of the other flaws we have, hit it with another coat of black, and then I'll show you the white coat that goes on top of it. Now that we have the tracks painted black, the first thing we're going to do to the tracks is we're going to mist them with a kind of like a tarnish color. It's a actual mixture of 70% NATO brown, 25% NATO black, and 5% red. And this will give it a kind of a toned finish right here. We don't want to go for rust, because metal tracks that are being used don't rust, because any type of rust that forms on it wears off. But this nice tarnish kind of effect, it looks really, really cool as a base for the thing. So we're just going to lightly mist this over the already black tracks. Now that we have the shadow coat on, we can go ahead and put the white highlight coat on. And we want to leave all the seams dark, and just any of the main panels that would got exposed a little bit more to the sun, we want them to look a little lighter, so we're going to spray those white. Okay, the white coat is now on, and the white coat does not have to by any means be perfect for this type of paint job. And the reason so is because that's just going to give a tone variation once we put our outer body color on. Now I chose to go with this heavy equipment yellow from Mission Models. I think it's going to be a nice orange yellow that will look really good on this vehicle. So this requires about 20% thinner, so we'll mix this up right now and spray down the entire vehicle, leaving out these little areas right here. I want to leave these black. If a little overspray gets on it for now, that's fine, because we're going to repaint the, with a darker black. But I just don't want to put too much orange in those areas, as well as some of these gun areas as well. Now we're going to do a little dry brushing. I've taken that same brown color that we've sprayed and misted on the tracks, and now I put a little bit on this brush and wipe most of it off on a paper towel, just getting the majority. Now we're going to start doing a little bit of chipping and scratching, especially on areas that would get a lot of wear and tear. And just using a real fine brush. And the paint color that we use to mist the tracks makes a good kind of tarnished chipping color. And we're just going to go over some of these areas and put some where the paint would have come off from using it a lot. Now I'm going to do this a little lighter than this over most of the vehicle. We want to look like it's been used. And you can put scratches, any way you want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spend a little bit of time, and we're going to go over and scratch the rest of the vehicle up and come back and show you what it looks like. I'm going to do a little highlighting on our dark black guns here, and I've taken just a foam brush. It's actually just made out of like a foam rubber, and just dipped a little bit into our S&J polishing powders, and we're just going to start going over some and highlighting some of the things like the ribs. Now this powder will blend in, so it'll go on a little heavy to begin with, but using the foam rubber brush, like I said, we can go to and just kind of rub it in and make it blend in, just to highlight all the little detail that are on these guns. And you have to work it a little bit to kind of blend it in so it's not so bright and shiny. But a few minutes work on it and it turns out very, very nicely. So I'll work on the guns a little bit more and come back and show you what they look like when they're done. And here are the guns after we've polished them up a little bit. So it gives it kind of a gunmetal color, but more realistic rather than big chunky flecks of paint that don't always look very well. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of the Tamiya black panel liner, and we're just going to highlight all of these little vents and little other details that we want to pop out. And it's pretty thin down stuff, so you just have to kind of touch it, and using capillary attraction it's usually will wick down most of the side. And it's just to make things pop out a little bit more. We can even do these little things right here. You can see how it just goes right around them. Just makes the detail pop out a little bit more. Now it takes a little bit of time, but I'm gonna go over the entire vehicle right now and bring out all that nice detail with the panel liner. Thought I would also show you, let me pull this out, some of these other panels, how these really can pop out just by touching it with the panel liner really gives some nice detail to it. And if you get any excess anywhere you don't want it, you can always use a cotton swab while it's wet, and you can just wipe off the excess. It's also a good idea to do any of the bolt heads to highlight them. And it will dry a little bit more subdued once you get it on, but it'll also give it kind of a dirty, greasy look. For the tracks, I've mixed up a little of Vallejo's light sienna and used a little bit of desert dust and kind of made it into a slurry that we're going to mix up, and just brush a light little coat on the tops of the tracks and let it soak all into the little cracks and crevices on it. And what you're going to do is you're going to let that dry for a little while, and I'll show you the next step after it dries for about 5 or 6 minutes. Now that the tracks have had a little time to dry, we can take a cotton swab and go over just the high points of the track. And just scrub those down, and this will take off all of the dirt and grime off of the tops of the pads, but still leave it all inside. And then after that, you can take your metallic powder, your choice, and get another Q-tip or cotton swab, and you can just lightly go over the tops. And this will give it a slightly metallic effect, but still have the dirt inside all of the track pads. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up all of the tracks, and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. Now, as you can see on the side, we've got a nice grimy, grungy look. And the last thing I'm going to do is just going to put a little touch of like a rust to it. Now we've got a soft brush that we put a little bit of thinner on. We're just going to wet the area where we're going to do the rust. And this is mainly so the rust color doesn't stain the paint immediately. And then just taking our brush, thin brush with a little bit of the rust on it, you can put it up along the highlights right here, and then streak a little bit down. And these will create rust stains. And then after that, just take your big soft brush again that has the thinner still a little bit on it, and just drag down. And you'll just get these subtle light little rust stains. And you can use grime or some other color too if you don't want to show rust at all. But I'm just going to use a little bit of grime and a little rust like that over most of the vehicle, just to give it a little streaking effect, and come back and show you what it looks like. So here we are. Here is our completed model. Now I've taken a little bit of time and we painted up the lights, and I just used some Vallejo silver paint, painted those in, and then after it dried, just touched a little bit of the Tamiya black panel liner to seal in around it to kind of give it some shadow effect to it. I also added some more streaks and some little rust stains to the front to all these pads, because all this would have all gotten nice and dirty. We also continued to blend all of the dirty effect on the tracks. And as we come around here, hopefully you can see really well all the streaking effect that we put on the sides of the vehicle. I wanted to create a vehicle that was supposed to look really like it's really been used quite a bit, that it was something that was really getting into combat. Now, I did leave all of these hatches. These are all able to come off, so if you are going to do wargaming with it and you want to put figures inside of it, they are openable so that you can do anything like that later on the road. So all in all, these are actually a kind of a fun little kit to put together. The part count is very, very low. They're designed for wargaming, so they're not designed to have like 1,000 parts like some tank kits that are out on the market. So it's quick, go together. They're usually painted unusual paint schemes. Bright yellow is not something that comes up in a normal tank build, but I had a really, really good time building it. And of course, that's the most important part, is having fun building all these things. So it probably won't be the last Warhammer piece I build as well. Like a friend of mine gave me this one to build up because he was quite big into wargaming, and he said, hey, you should have some fun doing this, and I definitely agree. I did have a lot of fun doing this. So I want to thank you as always for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.